What's up, Hennessy? It's Katie. So we're gonna learn how to make a scarf with the crochet hooks that you have, okay? I know you have a whole stash of crochet hooks. They look like the exact same ones that I bought on Amazon also. What you're gonna do is you are going to feel the 4 largest hooks. Don't worry about those little bitty baby ones. I want you to just feel the hooks and find the ones that are the largest. I know that you're gonna have trouble seeing what color they are, so I'm going to describe them to you. I will also tell you the color just in case you have a friend that can help you. If not, don't even worry about it. We got this, okay? So the 4 largest ones that there are, there's a size 10, a size 9, a size 8, and a size 7 millimeter, okay? The very, very largest one, that's a 10, and that's purple. The next one is a 9, and that's blue. If you cannot feel the difference between them, because honestly, they're so close together in size, it's okay. Just put those ones to the side. Now let's deal with the 2 that are the next smallest ones. The 7 and the 8 millimeters, okay? 7 is turquoise, 8 is red. Again, if you are feeling them and you can't really tell a huge difference between them, that's okay. You can choose either one. They're very, very similar, and we can make a scarf together with either one of those 2, okay? I'm going to make the scarf with the 8 millimeter, the red one, okay? So that is the 3rd largest hook in your whole array of hooks, okay? Now that we have our hook, let's figure out how to do this. So your hook, it's called a hook because there's a hook, okay? If you feel on one end, you'll feel this like triangle, almost pyramid shape. And if you move your fingers along the handle, you're gonna come to this flat area, and you can feel raised up are actually the number, like the size that the hook is, and then an M and another M. And it says 8 millimeter. I know it's kind of hard to feel, so don't even worry about that. But there's that flat area, and you continue moving your hands down the hook, and you will come to the actual hook part, okay? The hook part is where we are going to be putting our yarn, okay? So to hold the hook, what you're going to do is grab the hook in your right hand, just like you're holding a knife, okay? You can put your thumb on the flat area that's in the middle of the hook where it says what size it is. Those raised bumps that say the sizing is where you're gonna put your thumb. Now I know that this flat area wraps around the hook, so if you feel on the other side, your index finger is going to feel that flat area as well, but there's no bumps. So that part does not say what size it is. You're gonna put your index finger on that. The side that has the raised up lettering is where your thumb will be. The rest of your fingers will follow in line down the shaft of the hook, and you are essentially holding this hook like a knife. If you have your thumb on the raised up numbers, your hook will be in the perfect position to work with, okay? Because if you take your left hand, feel the thumb of your right hand, and continue up the hook, you will actually come to the hook part. Let's grab some yarn. All right, Hennessy, so you showed me the kind of yarn that you have, and all of them are very similar weights or thicknesses, as you can say. I'm going to use the same thickness that you have, and I know that the yarn is going to feel a lot smaller than the hook, and that is okay. So the yarn is very small compared to your crochet hook, and that's okay. I'm just using a larger hook because it will make larger stitches, and I'm hoping this way you'll be able to feel more of the structure of each stitch. But you said that you have problems making a slip knot, and that's okay. Instead, what you can do is have the end of your yarn on the table in front of you. Lay your yarn out in like a straight line, okay? So we have the end of the yarn is at your right hand. Let's hold it. Let's hold the end of our yarn in our right hand with our index finger and our thumb. We're holding it. Our left hand we can use to guide the yarn just about 7 inches or so across the table in a straight line, okay? And you can put the yarn down. So now it's totally in front of you. Take your right hand and grab your hook. Just like I taught you with your thumb on those raised numbers and letters. So now we're holding the hook as if we were holding a fishing pole or a knife, okay? I want you to put the hook on top of the yarn at the end of the yarn, okay? So I'm putting that flat area of my hook on the very end bit of the yarn on the table, all right? So it is totally out in front of me. I'm not touching it right now. It is just laying there on top of the yarn, okay? So the raised bumps lettering is up. The flat part of the hook that does not have the letters is on top of the yarn, okay? I want you to move this hook 4 finger spaces to the left. So if I have my left hand right beside the hook and I'm putting all 4 fingers on top of the yarn, 4 of them, I'm going to pick up the hook with my right hand and put it on the other side of my left hand, and then I can move the left hand, okay? This just makes sure that the hook is on top of the yarn, but now we have this kind of tail to the right of the hook, okay? So we have about 4 inches of yarn to the right of the hook. I'm going to use this tail of the yarn to make a knot around that flat part of my hook, right? This is going to be easier than making a slip knot, so you're going to do it just like you were to tie your shoes. So pick up the right end of the yarn with your right hand. So the end of the yarn is in my right hand. I'm going to go to the other side of the hook with my left hand, and I'm going to pick up the yarn. So now the yarn is off of the table, but the hook is still on top of the yarn so that it's touching the table there. I'm going to use my hands to tie a knot around that flat bit of hook. So I'm going to I don't know how you tie knots for your shoes or anything. Everyone does it a little differently. So I'm just going to like crisscross applesauce, okay, make a little knot, just like we were going to tie a present or something. So now that's wrapped around the hook, and I'm going to double knot it so that that knot is not going to get off the hook. Okay, so I've double knotted it. I can put my yarn down. Now there is a knot on the hook, which means that there's this little loop that's around the hook, okay? All right, take your right hand and pick up your hook. Put your right thumb on the raised up letters on the hook and hold it just like you were holding a knife. That little loop that we have made, you can slide it up the hook and actually have it resting in the area of the hook, okay? So that is above where your thumb is. You're going to feel where that hook is. You're going to put the loop there. Okay. So now we have our right hand all situated. How in the world are we going to do the left? That's okay. We got this. Don't worry. Take a deep breath, and we're going to move forward. So I'm holding the hook in my right hand. Put your left hand on the hook portion of the hook, and I want you to feel where that knot is, okay? Run your left hand now onto the yarn that is attached to the yarn ball, okay? And I want you to feel where that yarn is. I want you to now make it straight line coming out, right? And just rest it on the table. So now there is essentially a straight line of yarn attached to your hook. Your hook is just resting in your hand, your right hand, and that right hand can be on the table too. So now everything is on the table in front of you. Okay. Your left hand is what is going to hold the yarn for each stitch you are making, okay? What I'm going to do is I am going to take my left hand and I want you to put it on the table, okay? Just like you were chopping, like karate chop. Wah. Put your left hand on the table. I want you to now keep your left hand on the table just like you were doing a karate chop and spread your fingers out. So now your pinky is resting on the table, all your fingers are fanned out. Kind of like if you were to use it to make draw your hands for like a turkey during Thanksgiving when you were a kid or something. You're going to spread your fingers out, including your thumb. Everything's up, okay? I'm gonna take the pinky and you are going to now run your pinky forward until the yarn is resting in the space between your pinky and your ring finger, okay? All right. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep that yarn in that area of your pinky and your ring finger, and I want you now to flatten your hand and put it onto the table. All right, so now what is happening, and you can put your hook down with your right hand so you can feel what's happening. If you are, take your right hand and touch the yarn that's connected to the yarn ball, and I want you to run your right hand towards the hook. So what's gonna happen is you're on the yarn, it's gonna go over your pinky, and then it's gonna be under your ring finger, your middle finger, and your index finger, and it's gonna come out the other side so you can feel it on the table, and then there's your hook, okay? So pick up your hook, pick up your left hand slightly, okay? You're gonna take your index finger and you are going to put it underneath the yarn now. So if you were to run your right hand along the yarn again, the yarn is going to go over your pinky, under your middle finger, over your pinky, under the ring finger, under the middle finger, over the index finger, and then it's going to run to your hook, okay? Perfect. Pick up your hook again. You can pick up your left hand. You're going to keep the yarn there, over the pinky and over the index finger, but you are going to turn your left hand counterclockwise. You are going to take your middle finger and your thumb, and you are going to put it on the little tail that's coming off the knot that is on the loop around your hook. Okay, remember, on the loop around your hook, there's a knot, and there is a piece of yarn that is coming off of it that's not connected to the yarn ball, and then there is also a piece of yarn connected to your yarn ball. I want you to take your left hand, middle finger, and thumb and hold it on the part of yarn that is not connected to the yarn ball. Okay? So now you are holding the yarn exactly how we are going to crochet. Perfect. Okay, you can also use your middle finger, your ring finger, and your pinky to help your thumb hold that tail. If you put your middle finger and your ring finger and your pinky with your middle finger and your ring finger mostly with your thumb on that tail, that's going to give you a ton of stability. There's going to be a lot of tension on that yarn coming off of your hook now, okay? Are you ready to crochet? Let's do it. With your right hand holding your crochet hook, you're going to take your crochet hook and you are going to bring it towards you. So you are going to essentially grab the yarn that is connected to the yarn ball. You're going to take your hook clockwise around the yarn. Okay? You can take your index finger on your right hand. You can actually feel the yarn around the hook. Okay? Once it touches the hook, you can grab that yarn with the hook and slowly pull it through the loop. Boop. Okay, and then you can twist your right hand counterclockwise slightly and push it forward again, up that yarn. Put your hook clockwise around the yarn connected to the yarn ball. Twist your right hand clockwise slightly, grab that yarn, and pull it through the loop again. Boop. Now we have 2 stitches on a chain. Okay. Now that's a lot of space there, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your left hand and your middle finger, your ring finger, and your thumb, instead of holding where that knot is, you're actually going to slide those up to hold those stitches you just made. Okay, so you're going to slide those fingers up to be at the base of the hook where the yarn is, so you're holding those stitches you just made. So right hand again, move your hook clockwise around the yarn that's connected to the yarn ball, twist your hook clockwise just slightly so it can grab that yarn a little easier, and pull it through the loop that's at your left hand's fingers. There you go. Now we have 3. Oftentimes I will make 2 stitches and then move my left hand fingers up the chain a little bit. So I'm going to go clockwise around the yarn connected to the yarn ball, twist slightly, and through the loop. Boop. I'm going to take my left hand fingers, move it up that chain slightly, and now hold it again. Alright, so I'm going to try again. Clockwise around the yarn, twisting clockwise slightly, grabbing that yarn and go through the loop. Okay? Now this chain that you have made, I'm going to put my yarn down. I'm going to put the crochet hook on the table. I'm going to move my left hand, so now I have the crochet hook on the table in front of me. There is a loop around the crochet hook, and if you feel the loop, there is going to be a chain that you just made. So we have just made 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and we also have a piece of yarn that goes all the way to the yarn ball. Okay, you can make that a straight line, so it's easier to tell exactly what we have. Alright, so to describe what this chain feels like, alright, there's 2 sides to the chain, and what it feels like is almost like there are V shapes. 1, 2, 3, 4 V shapes. So sometimes you gotta stretch the chain out a little bit so you can really feel what those are. If you go to the end of the chain, so the very first stitch that we made, so where that knot is that we made, and if you pick up the knot with your left hand and take your right hand with it too, and feel going towards the hook, you'll feel a hole. Okay, there is a hole there, and on one side of the hole is a knot, on the other side of the hole is a twisted yarn. That is a stitch. That hole is a stitch. So if you continue down the chain, you feel the twisted yarn, and then there's a hole, and then there's another piece of twisted yarn. That is another stitch. So twisted yarn, hole, twisted yarn, another stitch. Each one of those is a stitch that you count. So this chain is going to be the width of your scarf. So if you want your scarf to be 20 stitches, you would do 20 stitches in your chain. Okay? If you want it to be 10, 10 is fine. For learning purposes, I think doing 5 to 10 stitches is really a great starting point so that we can learn to go back and forth, okay? Alright, so right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. Let's continue. I'm going to pick up my hook in my right hand, holding it like there is a knife. Take your left hand and grab the yarn that is connected to the yarn ball. Just grab it, and I want you to pull it until it gets tight. You can feel it tight around the hook, okay? When that happens, I want you to take, I know you're still holding the hook in your right hand, but I want you to take your index finger and your thumb, and I want you to hold that chain against the hook, okay? This way, we'll be able to position our left hand again. Let the yarn go from your left hand and just make sure that the yarn is in a straight line so that we can position our hand again, okay? My left hand, remember, I'm going to karate chop the table, spread my fingers out. I'm going to put the yarn between my finger, my pinky finger and my ring finger, okay? Now move it towards the left and flatten your hand out so it is now resting on top of the yarn. Take your index finger underneath the yarn. So right now we have yarn over the pinky, under the ring finger, under the middle finger, and over the index finger. Okay. Now we're going to twist our left hand, like bring it up and twist it counterclockwise slightly so you're karate chopping the table again. Take your left middle finger and your left thumb, and now you're going to grab that chain at the top where it's touching the hook, okay? Now you can take your right hand, and if the way you're holding everything in your left hand isn't quite tight enough, you can take your right hand, grab the yarn connected to the yarn ball to the left of your left hand and pull slightly. Ding, 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 okay? So now it's tight, good and tight. All right, so right hand back on your crochet hook like you're cutting it with a knife. So let's do another stitch. So hook part, clockwise around the yarn, twisting your hook slightly so it stays on the hook. Pull through the loop. Boop. So now that's stitch 5. Let's do it again. And that is stitch 6. Move your left hand up slightly. Okay, let's do 4 more. So around, scoop it through the loop. Around, pull it through the loop. Okay, move your left fingers up, around and through the loop, around and through the loop. Now I know this can be frustrating when you're starting out. It's frustrating for anyone, honestly. So give yourself grace, give yourself patience. You can do this. Don't worry, I know it's scary, it's a lot to handle, but you've got it, okay? So we can put everything on the table again. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 stitches. Okay, so how in the world do we go from a chain to a back and forth blanket or scarf? All right, here's what we're going to do. Remember, there's a twist in the yarn, and then a hole, and then a twist, and that is a stitch. So lay everything on the table. This time I want you to put your right hand on the hook where the loop is around the hook, and I want you to feel going towards the left of the hook. You'll feel a twist in your chain, a hole, and then a twist in the chain. What we are going to do in order to go back along the chain is you are going to put your hook of the hook into that hole that you feel there, and that's where you're going to grab more yarn for your second chain, okay? You can do this. Do not worry. All right, so let's try it. We're going to pick up our hook with our right hand like we're chopping something with a knife. Remember how we position our left hand? I want you to do that and hold your chain, okay? So we feel that loop around our hook, we feel a twist in our yarn, we feel a hole in our chain, and then a twist in the yarn. Your left hand, I want you to hold where that twist occurs, not the first twist next to the hook, but I want you to do it on the other side of that hole. So loop around
the hook, then there's a twist in the yarn, and then there's a hole, and then the twist. I want you to hold on to that last twist there. The hook of your hook, this is going to be a little tricky, but you got it. You're going to take your right hand and you're going to twist it counterclockwise, and you're going to put that hook into the hole of the chain, put it all the way through. Boop. So now on the hook you can feel a loop and another loop, okay? There's 2 loops on your hook. Now the yarn that is connected to the yarn ball, you are going to grab some of that with your hook. You're going to pull it through the very first loop you have on your hook. So do that. Boop. So now there are 2 loops on your hook. You're going to grab some more yarn with your hook, twist your hook slightly. You might want to move your left hand up along the chain to the base of the hook so your left thumb and middle finger are touching those 2 loops on your hook. But you're going to twist your hook, and if it's too tight, loosen up the loops a little bit on your crochet hook by wiggling them back and forth or something. Sometimes that happens, especially when you're nervous. But you're going to grab the yarn that's connected to the yarn ball again. You're going to bring it through both of the loops on the hook. Boop. Okay, so now there's only 1 loop on your hook. Perfect. All right, so how does this feel? You're feeling there is a loop on your hook. Okay, bring your left hand to the left of your hook. You're going to feel that there is 1, 2 loops, and if you move down the chain, there is a big hole, and then there's a twist and another hole. Okay, that big hole is where we just made a stitch. This time, you're going to put the hook into that second hole on the chain, okay? So into that hole, boop, grab some yarn from the yarn ball area, put it through that first loop, grab that yarn again, and put it through both of the loops on your hook. That is your second stitch. So now you have 1 piece of looped yarn around your hook again. Feel that chain area again. Okay, so if you go back down, there's this giant hole you just made, and to the left of that there is a twist, another hole, and a twist, basically where your left fingers are, okay? So now that second hole is where you're going to be again. Bring your hook into that hole, grab some yarn, bring it through, and then grab some more yarn and bring it through both of those loops. Oh, look at that! You can now feel, if you put your project on the table, okay, you can now feel that you have your hook, you have a loop around the hook, go down, okay, so now it kind of tees off. You can feel there's a lot of stitches to the right, and then just the little baby chain to the left, okay? Each hole in the chain is where you are going to be doing those stitches we just did, okay? So we're going to do it again. Pick your project up, okay? Your left hand around, your right hand, perfect. Now with my right hand, I like to hold the parts that you have already crocheted. Okay, those stitches that we've already made, I like to hold those in my right hand. Kind of steadies them a little bit. And the chain that we are going to crochet, I put in my left fingers. All right. So feel where you have not done any crocheting yet. Find your next hole. So there's a twist in the yarn, a hole, and a twist in the yarn. Put the hook into that twist. Okay. Grab some yarn, pull it through. Now there's 2 loops on your hook. Grab some yarn and put it through both of those loops. Boom. And that is it, friend. That is literally all we're going to be doing, back and forth. Except for there is one more thing we have to learn. So let's keep crocheting across this chain. We have, let's see, how many do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. Okay. So I'm going to crochet those last 5 stitches, okay? Did I just double crochet that? Hold on. Let's see. In, grab, in, grab. That's what I like to tell myself. In, grab, in, grab. In, grab, in, grab. Okay. In the hole, grab the yarn. Grab some more yarn, pull it through. And one last. Okay. Now when you have finished your row, all those stitches are completed. What you're going to do is you're going to grab yarn again, just one more time, and you're going to bring it through your hole, okay? Now you can flip your project clockwise. So your whole chain that you have just crocheted is in my left hand. Okay, it's to my left. And there's no chain to my right, just the hook. Now you can feel after you've made that extra loop that there is a little bit like a 1-stitch chain from your hook, and then right below that you can feel the giant holes in your crochet. Okay, so go across your crochet and feel where each hole is. There should be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. There should be 9 holes, and you are going to put your hook in each one of those holes for your next remaining stitches. Okay? Now I know that it can be a little overwhelming learning a new skill, but as you work, you're going to feel what works for you. Maybe change up what I've just taught you, but take the time and be kind to yourself, because as you work, you're going to become a better person, and you're going to be making something absolutely beautiful. And if you mess up, no worries. All you have to do is undo it. So let's say I've messed up and I'm just like, I gotta start over, I'm a hopeless wreck. Put your project down. Take your hook out of that loop, okay? And all you do is with your left hand in the yarn that's connected to the yarn ball and your project that is in your right hand, and you pull your left hand, and you can feel all the stitches coming out, all of them coming out all the way to the end, and what you have left is that one little loop that we double knotted in the very, very beginning, and we can start over, okay? All right, I hope this helps, girl. We can do this.
Hennessy, I know that it is scary, but you've got it. If you need any help, just ask, and I'm always here. Have a great day.